What's up, everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl Straight Skates. I'm Rebel.
I'm Shove.
And today we are going to talk to you about a topic that has been heavy on our little hearts for a minute now, and that is
bullying.
Especially online bullying. Queer Girl Straight Skates is a YouTube channel full of roller skating tutorials, reviews, general roller skating lifestyle videos. We have a whole lot of fun here. So if you are an aspiring roller skater and you really want to start roller skating, or if you've been roller skating forever and you are like always full on in the roller skating community, I hope that you will find a place here. I put out new videos every week. I go live on Sundays, so you should subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified when I post.
Wow, you do all that?
I do all that. I do a lot every week.
It's a lot of energy.
All for you. Because I love you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Cool. So let's get down to it.
What are we getting down to?
The business.
So I don't know if you've seen this. Many people have. Here's our humble brag. We were in a mini doc on the Nike Journal with some of our closest friends, the famous Estrogen, the famous Kiana, and our not famous yet, our little secret back pocket friend that doesn't like social media. Yeah, Jess. I used to work with her, but yeah, and it was an amazing experience. It was like a 7.5-minute video, 2 days of shooting. This thing that we did in November that we waited forever, and it finally came out, and we were super excited for it.
So excited.
And before the skate community could know about it, it hit just the real world like everyone else, and it was just bullying and hate comments and body shaming and anti-trans verbiage, just so much stuff. And it was like the worst kind of online bullying I have ever experienced. So we're going to talk about online bullying period, and kind of like how we got through it, or going through it.
Going through it, yeah. A lot of this online hate was directed specifically at Shove, and a little bit of it was directed at me. And so it was a lot of fat phobia as well. I think that's like a lot of the stuff that was coming at us.
And misgendering.
And a lot of misgendering. And then a lot of like backfire and hatred about people being non-binary and stuff. So it was a mess. Like it is catastrophically disaster comments, dumpster fire 2021 status. So how did you feel about all of this?
Well, I think the issue is, as a fat black queer woman, you have to expect getting some sort of hate, whether it's racism, fat phobia, homophobic comments, like all these things can go into it, right? Sexism. And usually I'm prepared for it. Like, hello, fat girl has moxie, I reclaim it, I put myself out there, wear what I want to do, I wear what I want, and I do what I want. I think what was so hard with this is, even though I knew like, wow, Nike has millions of followers and like they're all gonna see us, for me, I didn't mentally prepare myself that I've been in this bubble of the skate community, which is very welcoming and understanding for the most part. Like, it's probably like 99% people that are very inclusive and open-minded. And I rarely get any hate comments. Like, it happens maybe once every 4 months. Like, it's not even a big deal. And since I was so excited knowing like it's gonna come out tomorrow, I didn't mentally or emotionally prepare myself for the hate comments. So I woke up and I had to go to work that day on a call first. And what do? Like most of y'all, I check Instagram before I even get out of bed because I'm addicted. So I get on my phone and I'm like, oh my God, it's out already. I was thinking it was going to drop at like noon. I didn't know it was going to drop like early in the morning. So I go to the comments. I'm like, wow, it already has like 1,000 comments, like all these views. And I'm going through and it's literally nothing positive, like zero positive comments. It's just like more like fat, like this is fat, and like this is disgusting. These aren't real athletes. Like, what are you doing, Nike? How, like, why would you do this? What is this mess?
This is unhealthy. Like, I'm grossed out. Like, all sorts of stuff.
And then to like wake up to something like that, especially when you like go from like being so happy, it just like came down like a ton of bricks. Because even though I'm very strong, I'm still human. And since I wasn't prepared for that much and to not see anything positive, it was just too much. And it was also very triggering because as someone that has suffered with eating disorders and body dysmorphia and like all just full of self-hate, it was really hard. It kind of started to send me back there. And at the time, Rebel was out of town, so I had no one to really lean on, and like I didn't know who to really talk to about it because like most of my friends are like not underweight, but like they're on the thinner side. Like no one is my size or bigger than I know. So I felt like as much as people wanted to tell me it was going to be okay, they couldn't really relate to it as much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I understand, like, I was just really not expecting backlash from this. Like, I just straight up was not, like, literally thought, like, oh, this is this great thing that we're doing. Like, I'm so excited about it. Like it was months in the making and, you know, all this stuff. And we had seen the film ahead of time and we knew how amazing it was. Like, yeah. I was so stoked for people to see it. And I just knew, like, there's, like, there wasn't even a thought in my head that it could be negative. And yeah, so I definitely was hit in the face with that. And it was really hard because I was out of town. And so I was like, she told me to stay out of the comments. And so I did. And so on some level, it was like, it was good that I stayed out of the comments in the beginning, but it was also like, bad because I didn't really understand the gravity of what was happening, and so I couldn't be there for her as much as I wish I would have been able to, but also I was really far away, so it was like very hard. And then I ended up like getting internet connection and getting into the comments on like that night. And so I kind of went through my whole day being like, la, 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 like everything's great. Like just seeing the reposts and being like stoked that people in the skate community were seeing it. And like knowing it was probably bad, but not thinking it was as bad and as targeted to us as it was. Like I definitely thought it was just going to be like, ugh, gross, like whatever, y'all aren't skaters. But I wasn't expecting the like direct attack on us as people. Like it was very clear that comments were about Shove, and then it was very clear that comments were about me. And so like for me it was really hard because I saw like not just the comments that were like directly about me, but it was also like the hundreds of people liking those comments. Mm-hmm. And so it was like behind every person who was vocal enough to say something like
people were agreeing
terrible and degrading and mean, there were all of these people behind them agreeing with that comment. And for me that was like the hardest part, and I had a really hard time that night. Like I stayed up until like 4 a.m. just crying, like sobbing and like not knowing how to handle it. And again, I was with a couple of the people that were in the film, but I don't know, like it was hard because I didn't feel like anyone understood.
Yeah, I cried that morning twice. Then I tried to pull myself back together, and then on my way to work, I just felt like empty in a way. Like I was just like, I don't want to deal with it. Like my joy was just ripped away from me. And then Estrogen called me and was just kind of like, you know what, like, screw them, like, you're amazing, like, all the comments, that's how they are, like the skate community loves you. And then I just started bawling. I was, like, driving on the freeway, and I'm, like, crying for 30 minutes straight till I get to work. And then I try to, like, breathe at a bunch of virtual skate shop appointments that day. I was like, I gotta get through 5 back to back, and like I gotta get together. Like literally, as soon as I turned the webcam on, I was like, my eyes were so swollen, and you could still see that there were like tears streaming down my makeup, and I was like, this is great. But like I pulled it together because that's what I'm good at, faking being happy. Trauma. So, and I hung in until I had one customer. And at the end, she was, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Okay, at the end, she was just like, I just want to say, like, I've been following you for a while. I'm like, I love everything you do for, like, the queer fat community. And, like, you make me feel seen and all this stuff. And I just started crying again. But it was nice because it was something positive. And it's kind of the best thing that happened because talking to people that were excited to get, like, their first pair of skates. I sold 5 pairs of skates that day. Like, every customer I had got a pair of skates, and like their joy and excitement like made me happy, and it was so nice to have that experience. So much better than when people are like, are you okay? Because every time someone asks me if I was okay at work, I would just start crying again. But I had that joy. And also like being able to be like, hey, posting my story and be like, this came out, it's amazing. But the comments, like, if you like you're in the skate community, like please go comment on it. Because we could really use some positivity. And I love that the skate community literally, like, thousands
surrounded us,
went into those comments and, like, either
really
gave us compliments.
Defended us to all of like, the trolls.
And then people started trolling them and then started messaging other skaters. And it sucked.
It was crazy.
It sucked because then people were messaging, like, oh, like,
I went in there to say something positive and now I'm getting harassed because of how I look. And it was just, like, toxic.
Yeah, it was. And it just, like, reminded, like, once I had my pity party, like, cried into my stories, felt like crap the whole day. I felt like I just needed to do something about it. And, like, I just felt like something positive had to come out of it. And also I just felt like it showed me that I had more work to do because, yeah, it's one thing to be like, wow, I'm changing lives in the skate community and that's valid and that's amazing. But it's like, what about people that don't skate? Like, all the people that get all this hate daily and, like, just living their life, Like, there's a skate world and there's a real world, as we talk about on our podcast. And the real world deals with this all the time. We've created this small community that's, like, so amazing. And the real world is, like, still just so far behind and so full of hatred. And I know it's not all of them. It was just, like, the internet people feel like they're hiding behind their keyboards and they say all these crazy things. But still, like, they're out there. There's people that feel like they get off on commenting or they think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, up until this point, I had, like, weirdly more hate on my Instagram or on my YouTube than Shove did. And I feel like, it was very once in a while, like, yeah, I have like a couple comments a week or something, but it's not anything crazy. And I thought that I was okay with handling like bullying or trolling comments because I handle it, occasionally, and I'm just like, whatever, let it roll off my back. But when it's in just such mass quantities, it's like, how do you even deal with that? So maybe we should talk about now, like, how we dealt with it and how, if people are struggling with online bullying, like, what to do about that.
I used to kill them with kindness, so I would just say something, like, basically laughing it off or, like, joking with them because I feel like I didn't want to give them the pleasure of, like, arguing with them. But also I'd put them on blast and be like, I'd like screenshot my reply to them and be like, this is how you handle a bully. And someone would comment back and it would be a whole thing. But now it's shifted to now when people go into my comments, I just block them. Delete it, block. Just block them. I realize, like, what does it matter? Like, just delete it so no one has to see it. Block them so they're not attached so you can see your stuff anymore. And it's so much easier just to, like, have that control over it.
I used to be scared of deleting comments because people would say, oh, you're silencing people's voices or something like that. But when it's someone who's just being mean, mm-hmm. and that comment can literally be harmful to other people who are reading it, yep. Like, even if I'm able to deal with a comment, if it's a trolling comment that's about size, that's about queerness that's about anything, like it has the power to harm other people. And so at that point, when it's on my stuff, like I feel personally responsible to protect the other people who are in my online space from that comment. And so whereas I used to just respond like LOL or like let other people fight it out, now I just delete and block too. Because that's what's so great about the online space. Like, you can delete and block people.
Yep.
Like, in person, you can't just be like, delete, block, you know, like to people you work with or to people you're at school with or anything like that. But in the online space, you do have that power, and you should be protecting yourself because it's a crazy world out there.
I want to say something important that, like, let's say it is someone in the roller skate community that is being the bully, and you're like, oh no, they skate at the same park as me, or they skate in the same area, beach path, and if I block them, it's going to be really awkward. Who cares?
Who cares?
If you run into them, they're not going to be like, why'd you block me? And even if they do, they obviously already don't like you. They're either going to skate past you, or it's just going to be awkward. Your online presence, whether you're friends still, or they can still snoop on your page, like, just block them. It doesn't matter. I used to be afraid of that.
I used to be afraid of that,
and
too.
And now I'm like, they obviously know I don't like them. They don't like me. So
we're not going to hang out together.
Whether I block them or not, it's not going to be awkward because we're just going to skate right past each other because we're blocked in real life, too.
Yeah, and, like, honestly, there's so many people in the skate community, even though we keep talking about how small the skate community is, like, it's actually, there's a lot of people in it. And so, like, even if you're at the same rollout as someone else, you don't have to spend time with that other person.
Yeah.
Like,
don't let people control your lives and what you want to do. So, like, if you're at a rollout and there's someone that you're like, oh, they're kind of like if it's like you don't feel safe, like they're a bully, go to whoever's running it. There's always someone in charge of it and be like, hey, I don't feel safe here, blah, 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 is what's happening. And then that way they know, like, hey, skate with me. Like, trust me, they'll be like, it's cool, just come close. Or some people are really ballsy and they'll even ask that person to leave. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, Farron was, like, a skater up in Washington was saying, like, hey, when I come to Long Beach, I might have, like, a get-together, like, a masked up rollout. And but if you're worried that someone that you are afraid to be around is going to be there, just slide in my DM, let me know. I'll let you know if I know they're going. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to ask why you feel uncomfortable. I'll just let you know what I know so that way you feel comfortable, because that way we don't have drama. It just is what it is. And I really like that, like, idea, because I know I've been nervous to go places because I'm like, oh no, am I going to see this person that, like, really makes me uncomfortable, and it's like sucks to have those feelings, but you just have to have a support system.
Yeah, because again, skate world, not perfect. Microcosm of the real world, still going to have people that aren't great, because putting 8 wheels on your feet doesn't automatically make you a good person. Yeah. Being an amazing skater doesn't make you a good person. Being a good person makes you a good person.
And the faster the skate community grows, the bigger it is, the more those people in the real world that don't have a lot of the same beliefs as a lot of people in the skate community have start joining. And it's really hard for them to learn, because those ideals can change and they can become better people, but they're not allowed to skate with a lot of people that have these positive beliefs and energies because of the world. So they're still stuck in the real world way of thinking instead of the real world. So they're not used to inclusion yet. But when the world opens up, I feel like once people that even though might have these different views start seeing it, they might be like, oh, because I feel like you can teach people. To be honest, I used to be a bully when I was a kid. And I think that's why when people do bully me, like, sometimes I'll be like, I'll even tell people, like, I'm sorry that you have some trauma you need to work out. I'm sorry, like, if you weren't loved enough. Like, I used to straight up say that in their comments back to them. And then I'll be like, you know, forget this, block them. But I say that because I was a bully when I was in elementary, because I had so much, like, hatred and need for love, because my parents were like drug addicts and alcoholics, and there was a lot of things going on. So the only way I knew how to deal it was to take that anger out on other kids. So, like, for me, it's like I can see both sides, and I feel like when people have this toxic, like, bullying that they're doing, it's because they, like, have something empty inside of them. So sometimes I think maybe this is my karma, but I was only a bully as a kid for a little bit. So it's like, I don't deserve this. I'm a good person now. But I don't know, like, how did you deal with it?
I dealt with it by eating ice cream and crying and letting myself cry. And then I wrote some stuff. I didn't put it on the internet, but I did write some stuff just in my journal. Writing helps me like get a lot of my feelings out. And also I did write something online just like kind of letting people know that I was hurting, because I do think it's important to let people know that you're hurting, because even though you might think like, oh, that's going to make the bully see that I have a soft spot or see that they got to me. It's like, but it's important for people to know that you're human.
Yep.
I really, really strongly believe that. And so, yeah.
Make it real. Like, I'm not going to pretend like everything's fine, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm not afraid to cry. Like, I'm going to show you, one, I'm human, so that way you know, like, I can feel things. So something happens and you get a large social media following. All of a sudden, it's like TMZ on like a small level where people don't think that you're human and you have human feelings.
So weird.
Like you're untouchable. Like people will talk in the comments on your own post. Like if you're not gonna read
like
it. In
third person. Yeah.
And like we still see all that. We still are human. Like it's like that's just a numbers game. But we're just normal people. We still feel things. Like we're not untouchable. So things do hurt us the same way it would hurt you. And, like, I'm not going to make everything curated and perfect on my Instagram, and neither does Rebel. Like, we're going to show you when we have bad days and good days. Especially me, like, I'm really open with that. You see me, like, posting, like, when I'm going off. Like, and it's just, like, I felt like I needed to share that because someone else out there is probably going through the same thing, and I think it could be helpful.
Yeah. So, I don't know that I have, like, this is the solution for when you're getting bullied, but I do know that one thing is for sure, and that is don't keep it to yourself. Like, don't just
fester.
think, yeah, it's going to fester, it's going to turn into resentment, it's going to make you fixate, and that's exactly what you don't want to do. Like, use what they're saying as a platform to jump off of and find more self-love for yourself and find a community that appreciates you the way you are and what you do, because those are the people to focus on. There's a crap ton of people in this world. Not everyone's going to like you, and a lot of people are going to be intimidated by you, especially if you are confident and you represent any of the insecurities that they have. And so being undeniably yourself and standing up for yourself is going to be, one, totally hard, but two, it's going to pave the way for other people.
Yep. I was talking to the famous Tess Holiday, and because I was like, it's the fattest person, the most fabulous, with the hugest following I know that I can reach out to. And I was like, hey, I know you're really busy, but like, can you help me? This thing came out with Nike. It's getting a lot of hate. Like, how do you deal with it? Because she gets so much hate on everything. And she was like, so, you know, I don't always deal with it. Sometimes it's really bad. Sometimes you have to delete the apps on your phone and just go. And she said something that I had mentioned to someone else too, that like when you're the first at something, you are on the path of most resistance. Like you have to make the way. You have to like literally dig through the crap so that someone else can just walk right through easily. And if I have to be the first like skater at my size to have these opportunities so that the next person can have it easier and get paid the same and get the same exposure that like skinny white girls get, then it's worth it. So even though it's like, yeah, it sucks for me, like at least maybe I'll be remembered for it, you know? So I'm just trying to make it easier for other people. And when I was at work, I was like, towards the end of my shift, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home and I'm going to make a video and I'm just going to show that, like, I don't care. Like, I care, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to show them that, like, I'm still going to, they didn't knock me down. Like, they knocked me down, but I got back up. And I was so I made an edit about it. And then I freaking put a shirt together. I was like, Basically, I was like, gonna show my fat body and sell it on a t-shirt. And guess what? A lot of people have bought it. So now a lot of people are gonna have to see people skating around and walking around with this fat, black, queer body on their body. And they're just gonna have to deal with it. And that was my 2 ways of showing people that I am, unstoppable.
And that's that reaction, and whatever you are able to do to cope yourself is going to be different from person to person. And so don't think that you need to do exactly what I've done or exactly what Shove has done, but rather find the thing that helps you have the most ease and protects your mind and your heart as much as possible, and do that. So next, we're going to show you Shove's video.
One thing to keep in mind about this video, I know we already talked about bullying, but there is a trigger warning with this. I did post the comments, so you'll see the comments, be able to read them in the video, and they can be very triggering. So if you feel like you have been bullied to the point where it was very scary, frightening for your life, maybe do not read them. If you are easily triggered with anything that exposes, like something that could be triggering towards an ED or body dysmorphia, also go ahead and skip it. No hard feelings. But yes, I went ahead and just showed it all. And if you're okay with watching it, I hope you enjoy it.
Vowed a celibate, we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll arise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just 'cause I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just 'cause I laugh. As if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, naturally, there I go rising.
Thanks for watching this amazing, hard episode about a serious topic.
Yes, we are grateful for you being here. I think it is important for you to be here even if you haven't been bullied, because being aware of what's going on in the world around you, especially in the skate world and online, is really, really important.
Very important. So don't be afraid to reach out. Rebel and I do try our best to get back to messages. So if you feel like you're watching this and you're struggling with being bullied, there are resources that you can find. Rebel will put in the description the resources that you can reach out to if you are being bullied. If you feel like you're a little skater and you feel like, no, I just want to talk to a skater, we'll try to do our best to get back to you. If it's easier for someone that you don't know, then go ahead and just reach out to someone. Someone will listen. Someone will help you.
And it's okay to ask for help. You are not weak for asking for help. You are not alone. There are many people who go through this. And what are we as a community if we are not supporting each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get a Doja Fat t-shirt.
We got them for you.
We got them.
I took this photo of Shove on our moonbow ramp.
And that was actually also a video to have to do with...
it's called My Body, Your Fear.
Yeah.
A short film by Courtney Shove.
Yeah, so...
You can also see it. I'll link it below.
Yeah, so we'll have the links to all that stuff. Support Queer Girl Straight Skates by getting anything from the Cheers to the Queers store.
Or becoming a Patreon, or you can become a Patreon of Shove, or shop at fatfemmefatale.com, which is where you can get this shirt.
And go ahead and comment how you feel about bullying, and subscribe for not just fun content, but serious things like this.
Because we talk about the important stuff in the skate community.
Exactly. And as always,
cheers to the queers!
Unless you're a bully.
Then no cheers for you.
Time out.
I've got a